Yo, I really thought I was done with like talking about WNBA CBA talks because I'm kind of over it, but I'm not over it because Annie Constable released something that's very intriguing to me. Like, I really feel that some information is about to come forward and something's going to happen because this is really big. This is some big news here. Okay, let's go to the full screen here. Okay. The WNBA is exploring buying back 16% stake sold for $75 million in 2022. Multiple sources have told Annie Constable. Okay, why this is such a big deal? I want to go to Front Office Sports and I'm going to give my take on why I believe this is a big deal. Okay, I think the league needs that 16% back because there's already, first there was a 50-50 split with the WNBA owners and the NBA owners. And the league went through like a tough time during COVID and after 2020, and they had to sell to get some money. And they sold 16% to a group of investors, which allowed them to kind of, market, promote, and get back to where we see them today. Why this is important is because there's a reason why the league wants that 16% back is because the WNBPA, the Players Association, they've been asking for revenue sharing. And in order to get some revenue sharing, they're going to need money back from that stake. And I think that 16% is a big reason why the owners are apprehensive on giving a bigger jump in revenue sharing. Okay, this is real big because it shows that the owners are really thinking about how they can get the women that amount of revenue sharing. Okay, let's read this stuff. Okay, WNBA exploring buying back 60% stake sold in 2022. 5 years ago, the WNBA business was in desperate place. Okay, 5 years ago is 2026, so 5 years ago that'll be 21-ish. Fresh off a pandemic season, the effects of which reverberated well into 2021, the league needed money. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert led a capital raise that the league trumpeted as the largest ever for women's sports property, eventually selling a 60% equity stake in the league for $75 million in February of 2022. The funds were earmarked for brand elevation, marketing, and globalization of the WNBA, among other infrastructure investments. Okay, that goes back to say what I was talking about. Like, after COVID, the league was going through some hardship, like a lot of people were, like trying to find their way back after COVID, and they found some investors to kind of help them get back on their feet. Excuse me. Now, a mere 4 years after the deal was finalized, the WNBA is exploring buying back that 16%. Okay, now this is a big deal because they sold 16% for $75 million. Okay, that's 4 or 5 years ago. With hi baby, my baby's calling me. At $75 million at 16%, with, let's say, there's some growth, there's how they're going to need more than $75 million to buy back that stake if that stake wants to be sold. Because you got to understand that there's 3 teams added. Okay, there's 1 team added last year. There's 2 going to be added this year. There's 3 more coming within the next 4 years. Okay, we're dealing with like market inflation. That 16% now will be a little bit more than 75%, even with a group. Okay. The WNBA declined to comment. Sources said the idea was still in exploratory stages and it's not clear how buying back the stake will be structured or funded. The buyers of the stake are a large group that includes several WNBA owners, Paul Gasol, Condoleezza Rice, and Nike. They stand to earn back their original investment several times over. Their $75 million stake is valued the league and its teams at $1 billion. team valuations have roughly quadrupled in that period, and the WNBA has added 3 new teams with 3 more to come later this decade. That's what I was talking about beforehand. So that's a lot. And for the league to even be considering that, it just tells me that they're considering the profit sharing, revenue sharing. So good on them. When the WNBA launched in 1997, every team was owned and operated by an NBA team in the market. That was the model for the WNBA's 8 original franchises until 2002, when the NBA Board of Governors voted to restructure the league to allow independent owners to join and teams in non-NBA markets to be formed. Since 2002, the WNBA has welcomed a handful of independent owners, including the Mohegan Tribe, which bought the Orlando Miracle and relocated them to Uncasville, Connecticut in 2003. Prior to the capital raise, 50% of the WNBA was owned by 30 NBA owners, and the other 50% was owned by the W's owners. The raise diluted the NBA and WNBA owners' percentage down to 42% each. A number of investors from the capital raise are NBA and NBA owners, including Ted Leonisis, Joe and Clara Tsai, Herb Simon, giving them 3 different stakes in the league. Okay, now this is starting to make sense now. David Stern's brainchild has grown to become the longest running professional women's sports league in the United States, in part because of the NBA's investment. Okay, I want to hold here. I want to highlight this and hold here. Okay, this is why my argument has always been from the beginning of this is that I don't think the owners would allow the WNBA to fold, because this is not only a great time because of the rising second year sophomore players like Caitlin Clark and Reese, and the rookies like Paige Becker, Sonny Citron, and those popular who are taking the league by storm. But you got to understand that this is something that David Stern put together, and it's the longest running professional women's sports league in the United States. That's a lot to say we failed this. And that's a big, that's a big black eye to the ownership group if they allow this to fail. Okay, let's finish this off. Okay, however, experts believe the muddled structure is hindering the league as players and owners try to hash out a new collective bargaining agreement. Okay, that's another key point right there. Let's look at that. Experts believe the muddled structure is hindering the league as players and owners try to hash out a new collective bargaining agreement. The NBA has always viewed the WNBA as a sideline. Okay, look, because it says sideline, but we know what they mean. The NBA has always viewed the WNBA as a side piece. You know, you on the side, you're a tax write-off, you're a side piece. Stanford economics professor Roger No told FOS. Okay, we see the NBA just called the WNBA a side piece. I'm gonna repeat again. Stanford's economics professor Roger G. No told Front Office Sports they've never thought of it as a standalone line of business that they're trying to maximize the value of. It was a way to use the arenas in the summer when they're not being used. That's always been the conceptualization. Okay, y'all. I wanted to put my camera up because that's something we've been talking about for a long time. The WNBA was nothing more but a tax write-off or a side piece for the NBA owners until COVID happened, and a year or two later they needed money to keep the doors open. So they sold the stake. They sold 16% of the stake, and now with the inception of Caitlin Clark and others, the big boom. Caitlin Clark has a bigger boom, and the league is growing now. And now they see that it may be able to stand alone, and it's not just a tax write-off that we can cook the books and make it seem like we're not making money anymore. So yeah, there's some things going on here that's kind of fishy. The question is now that it's clear, everybody that is sentient knows women's basketball has arrived. Really? Has it really arrived? There isn't even an American league right now. Has it really arrived? Is it possible for the WNBA to continue to exist in that environment, or will someone take it away from them? By 2030, the WNBA will be at 18 teams with the additions of 5 expansion teams over the next 4 years. The most recent expansion teams, Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia, paid $250 million each to join the league. Although the exorbitant expansion fees points to the WNBA being in a more stable financial position, there are still many who believe it's not yet able to support the gross revenue model the union is seeking because of the ownership structure. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why they're trying to grab that 16% stake back, because they're realizing that maybe that 30% revenue share that the Players Association is asking for is doable if we can get that stake back. This is a big deal. I don't think people are going to cover it as such, because like I'd rather it be quiet, because I think while it was quiet, it gave me cause for pause that something was going on. And this is big news. See, I really didn't want to talk about the CBA anymore because we really don't know much. They're both posturing for social media and like fanfare. You know, if I have fans that want such, that's on ownership side, I put out some information that can kind of tickle them. If I have fans that are on the players side, I put out information that can tickle them and they can go to war while we fight over the CBA agreements. So I don't really care too much anymore about talking about whether or not they're going to do it or not, either do it or don't. But this is definitely like some big news, and it says a lot. The WNBA and WNBPA are roughly 50 months into a CBA negotiation, but have reached a stalemate over how the league should share its revenue with players. In a proposal submitted by the union around Christmas, players were asking for 30% sharing gross revenue and a salary cap of $10.5 million. The league has yet to respond to that proposal, but its latest, which shared in early December, featured a roughly 70% share of net revenue and a salary cap of $5 million. Wow. Okay, this is where we are, and this is showing a lot. Okay, with that information that we got from the Front Office Sports article from Andy Constable, we can see that the league definitely is taking into consideration the revenue sharing, and they're not like just blowing it off. It's just that they're in a bind with the 60% stake going to others that's causing them to have cause for pause. So right now, this is where we are. I don't really want to put out an opinion on it because, well, I do, but I'm tired of debating it. It's like, y'all gonna do it or y'all not? Like, we want to see the WNBA play. All right, forget it. Okay, this is what I've been saying from the beginning, and I stand on this fact, and I've been saying this for over almost a year now. I think Caitlin Clark is the big joker, and whoever side she's on will win this argument. That's just it. It's kind of that simple. Like, I think Caitlin Clark loves the WNBA so much, and those girls are they're like her fraternity. Those are her sisters. I know fans believe that they hate Caitlin. She hates them. Caitlin does not hate those girls, and those girls do not hate her. Those are athletes that understand competition, and they understand when I get on the court, it's war. So Caitlin is like, look, y'all, I'm trusting in my president and my Players Association to handle this business. Y'all let me know if y'all need anything from me. That's kind of, I believe that's Caitlin's model and what she's doing at this moment. And I think that this is good. I don't think they're going to be able to get that 60% back. They sold it for $75 million. They may have to buy it back for what, $750 million? Is it worth that? Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm out.